After a wet Brazilian Grand Prix, F1 Fantasy heads to the Nevada desert where F1 managers are thirsty for points. So, how are we going to quench that thirst? Let's find out. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Monday, November 18th. My name is Ewan. On today's episode, we're going to get into a Las Vegas Grand Prix preview and some team selection. Not going to lie, that little intro at the top may have been the corniest one I've done all season. Let me know in the comments below if you can remember a cornier one. But yes, we are heading to Las Vegas, the desert. It's going to be dry. It's going to be cold. It's going to be at night. And we have a weird schedule: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, just throw it all in there as we enter the final triple header of the F1 fantasy season. There is a lot to break down. There's a lot to decide for the remainder of the season. There's lots of chips to be played if you still have some chips as well. So yeah, over the final three races, it's going to be very exciting stuff. So make sure you do not miss a single episode of the YouTube channel or the podcast by liking and subscribing to the video or the podcast wherever you are listening or watching. But let's get into it here with one quick announcement. Deadline live stream will come back this week. So at 6 a.m. my time over here in Germany, I will be up and at 'em with a coffee, and we will be breaking down all of the FP1, FP2, FP3 data from the couple of nights beforehand, and we will be deciding our F1 fantasy lineups. So I will set a reminder on all of the social accounts and the YouTube page for that 6 a.m. wake up call for me, and wherever you are in the world. That'll be 5 a.m. UK, midnight in the East Coast. So yeah, hopefully you will be up and at 'em with me to watch the deadline live stream. Another announcement is a fantastic initiative from the Fantasy Formula guys over at FanApp. They have asked for the F1 fantasy community to take the survey about what they think about the game, how it's been, where it can improve. They have a pretty good relationship with F1. They talk to them a little bit every now and then. And yeah, so they are going to put this survey together. They've asked some of the content creators that you know and hopefully love out there to spread the survey. So the link is at a banner right now on the video below, and it will be in the description below for any podcast listeners and anyone that wants to click directly on the link. But right now it is www.fanapp.com/F1-news/ the fantasy formula 2024 player survey. So definitely go over there. Let your thoughts be heard. It's a fantastic survey. It really kind of fleshes out everything that you love, that you don't like so much about the F1 fantasy game, where it can improve, what kind of other fantasy games you can play, what you can take from those to kind of improve F1 fantasy as well. So hopefully we can get a ton of responses here. Let me know in the comments below. I'll pin the link to the top comment here. I'll be in the description below. I'll put it out on all the social channels that I am a part of now. And yeah, it will be everywhere. So definitely go check that out. Let your thoughts be known for F1 Fantasy. Let's improve this game. Let's get it to the, like, as good of a game as it deserves, because there's a ton of passionate fans out there. There's a bunch of you guys that are always out there every week, putting you in your lineups, taking great care, just like really, really passionate about the game. So we deserve a great product. So hopefully your thoughts will be heard in this survey and we can improve it for the 2025 season. And yeah, so just go there, click that link, take the survey. And I think you have until, I think it's December, I think the end of the season. And then we will let the results be known later. But yeah, great initiative by the Fantasy Formula guys, Adam, Rob, Terry. Those guys do fantastic work. They are in Vegas this week, so shout out to them. They're going to be doing a live show in Vegas. So very jealous of that. But good luck, you guys, on that show as well. Great job by y'all. Okay, got the kind of housekeeping stuff out the way here. We're getting into the Las Vegas Grand Prix preview. It's only the second time that this race has ever been here. Not sure if you heard, after they just keep pounding away with last year. It was intense. But the Las Vegas Strip Circuit, 6.201 kilometers, 50 corners, or 50 laps, 17 corners, if you can call them corners. Like I'm looking right here at the map right now, like turn 13, turn 17, little generous there. 2 DRS zones, and the first Grand Prix here was in 2023. And since I can never unsee it, since someone did it to me, I'm going to do it to you guys. That just looks like Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie. And I can never not get that image out of my head. Let me know in the comments below if you agree. C3, C4, C5 for one of the final 3 remaining races. I believe C3, C4, C5 is also going to be used at Abu Dhabi, but Qatar will be C1, C2, C3. So that'll be something to look out for. We actually had a lot of races recently that have had the C3, C4, C5. So teams should be pretty used to these tire compounds at this point. However, Vegas, strange things. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And we get a nighttime race. And yeah, it took me a little bit extra time to find the weather graphics for just a clear moon. I think it looks like a moon. My screen kind of just looks like a bunch of turkey flags missing a little bit there, but it's going to be cold. It's going to be dry. Despite what Saturday says, I think that's actually a lot lower than the 25%. Yeah, I forgot to change those. But yes, 0% chance of precipitation pretty much the entire weekend. 10 degrees Celsius on Thursday, 10 degrees Celsius on Friday, and 13 degrees Celsius on Saturday evening. And yeah, we saw how this kind of worked out last year, like some cold tires. I mean, they even lost a bunch of running in FP1 and FP2 last year because of Carlos Sainz's accident on like a manhole cover, and he like bottomed out his car, and then F1 charged him with a penalty even though it was entirely their fault that he had that, so that the accident happened. So that was unusual as well. But yeah, like nighttime race in the desert, very cold. It's always interesting that they keep it at November. I know they're trying to make it like a kind of a spectacle, end of the season, that kind of stuff. But yeah, they will definitely need to keep an eye on all that FP1 and FP2 data. We should get some representative running. So that will be nice for our lineup decisions bright and early on Saturday morning, where I will be here with the deadline live stream. So yeah, check that out as well. I'm bringing back this old graphic because it is a nighttime race in the US. The times are all over the place, and I apologize to anyone watching in Asia or some different time zones. So I've gone with the local time, the UK time, and the USA Eastern time here, because that's pretty much what I've been doing all season long. Practice 1 and practice 2 are going to be on Thursday night in Las Vegas. So that's 6:30 and 10 p.m. Las Vegas time, which is going to be 2:30 a.m. on Friday and 6 a.m. on Friday UK time. And then that's 9:30 USA Eastern and 1 a.m. on Friday USA Eastern. On Friday for Las Vegas, we've got practice 3 at 6:30 p.m., qualifying at 10 p.m. That means it's going to be a 2:30 start for practice 3 in the UK and a 6 a.m. start for qualifying in the UK. Then USA Eastern, 9:30 and 1 a.m. again. And then on Saturday night in Las Vegas, 10 p.m. race start. So stateside viewers also kind of don't have a good time zone for a race in their own country, which I don't really understand. I understand you want to keep your European audience, but yeah, I feel really bad for stateside watchers there. But yeah, 10 p.m. Las Vegas, 6 a.m. for the UK on Sunday, and then 1 a.m. on Sunday for the US Eastern. I've messed up some of the days on this graphic. Sorry about that. I guess it is Monday morning, so I guess I needed some extra coffee, and I will need some extra coffee for the deadline live stream and to watch that race on Sunday morning. So yeah, for us European watchers, it's really more of like Australian Grand Prix kind of timing. So very strange there, but yeah, it's all over the place. So just make sure wherever you are in the world, you know what time lineup lock is, what time the race starts, all that stuff, so you don't miss any F1 action this weekend. Yeah, and I will just be probably tweeting that all week long. On like kind of a social media note, I am on Blue Sky now at F1 Fantasy Ewan as well. Kind of just hopped over there, trying to just kind of see what's going on over there. There's a couple of us over there. I know Rain Fantasy's all over there. Pop Pan Man is on there as well. So let's get the F1 fantasy community growing over there. There's a couple of followers on X are also over there with me on Blue Sky as well. So if you want to see what it's all about, join us over there on Blue Sky. It's kind of interesting. It does look like baby Twitter, like early days of Twitter. So it is a little bit of a throwback. But yeah, you can follow me over there at F1 Fantasy Ewan, as well as TikTok, Instagram, and X. So yeah, I'm all over the place now. So follow me if you are on any of those platforms. 2023 Las Vegas Grand Prix. Just a review here. I haven't done this for a while either, but because there's only been one running, felt like it was kind of helpful. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz qualified 1-2. Max Verstappen was third. George Russell was fourth. Pierre Gasly fifth. And on the race, it was Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Esteban Ocon, and Lance Stroll in the top five there as well. What was I going to say here? Yeah, Ferrari. It seems like there was an interview earlier this week at the Gladiator 2 premiere where Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc were, that they said that Ferrari's car should suit the Las Vegas circuit, which will be very helpful. However, the temperatures may not help them out that much, but it could warm up over the course of the race. So as you see, they did as well as they can do in qualifying last year, and they did pretty well in the race last year. So there's a lot of thoughts about going triple Ferrari here, kind of getting off the McLaren train after Lando Norris has essentially everything but mathematically lost the Drivers' Championship at this point. We'll see our papaya rule is going to go out the window. Is Oscar Piastri going to go for it? That kind of thing here. And also, I was watching Tom Popman's race preview team selection video, and he mentioned that George Russell said that Vegas is one of his favorite tracks to race around. And another thing we have to take into account is with the Carlos Sainz incident last season, where there was no FP1 or FP2, I think they had an extended FP3. Let me know in the comments below if my memory is right or wrong about that. And then Lando Norris with a very, very quick DNF to begin the race with the infamous fantasy formula curse from Rob. If you guys remember that, where he said that two drivers have never not DNF'd an entire season. And then, he had that tweet right before the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and then Lando Norris DNF'd within the first 5 laps. So Lando, no FP1, no FP2, no Grand Prix last year. He hasn't had any running really around Vegas all that much. I'm sure there's plenty of time in the simulator, all that stuff, but compared to most of the field besides Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto, Lando Norris is the least experienced driver around this track, which is kind of weird to say for a 5 or 6 year veteran in F1. So just something to think about there with Lando Norris. I don't think a lot of us are going to be going off him all that much, but if you go triple Ferrari, that could be a reason that you do that as well. Are you feeling lucky? Speaking of McLaren, Ferrari, and George Russell, all there, all at once. This is a chart that I want to put together because I think a lot of people are kind of going to want to get off of McLaren. I think we got burned a little bit in Brazil. We're a little unhappy with them. And there are some teams that still need to set up for the extra DRS boost in Qatar next weekend. So they could be thinking about going with George Russell. So on the graphic here, I've got Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, and George Russell. I've got their points per race for the season since the summer break. That's SB, the last 3 races, and then the points per race in races where Ferrari constructor finished number 1, which is Australia, Monaco, Monza, and Coda. So just to show the gap, I know that's kind of like cherry picking and that kind of stuff, but just wanted to show how much stronger Ferrari can be when there is a track that suits them. So points per race for the season, Lando Norris leads all 5 of these drivers at 28.9. Then it goes Leclerc, Piastri, Sainz, and Russell. Russell has had probably the least amount of DNF or luck here this season, so he is down a little bit there. Points per race since the summer break, Norris still leads at 35.4, but Leclerc is pretty close behind him, 33.9. So bang for your buck. it's not that bad either. Piastri 27.7. Russell is ahead of Sainz 23.1 to 18.6. So that's also something to consider there. Points per race over the last 3 races. Leclerc is way out ahead, 38.7. And then the interesting thing is Lando Norris and George Russell tied at 27.7 points per race over the last 3. Then it's Carlos Sainz, 25.7. Then it's Oscar Piastri. He had a pretty rough triple header, Piastri. They like the papaya rules and stuff. Just wonder if like mentally it got to him a little bit, knowing that he couldn't really go all out. However, now with Lando Norris essentially out of the driver's championship, papaya rules possibly going out the window. Is he going to kind of return to that form that we saw in like Azerbaijan? That was fantastic. And then points per race for the Ferrari races that I just talked about there. So Leclerc, 46 points, Sainz, 32.5 points. They both have race wins in those races that I mentioned here. But then it's Norris at 27, Piastri at 26.8, and Russell at 25. So there is a clear gap with the Ferraris when they are far and away the strongest car. Australia is a little bit iffy because Max Verstappen DNF there. But Monaco, Monza, Coda, like all that data we saw, they were telling us that Ferrari is strong. So if we get that data from F1.com, from the simulations, all those fun places over Saturday evening, I guess, is when that would happen. We should feel pretty confident in going with triple Ferrari because you can see that they really like that's a 19-point gap between Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. And if you are trying to make up rank, like right now, right there, 6,807th in the world, I'd really love to get into the top 5K, but I have a little bit of a problem because I do not have any chips remaining. So extra DRS players for Qatar will have a huge chance to kind of jump me in the standings. However, if they want to set up for Qatar, they may not be able to get to triple Ferrari, so then they can get back to triple McLaren for the next race. So you got to see like where you can take your chances here. So going with triple Ferrari is probably an aggressive play, but I don't mind it at all. And we're actually going to get into that right now with some team selection. All right, so here is the T1 squad, 125.7 million in the cost cap here. Lots to kind of think about if I want to get different, but right now, as you can see, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Frank Colapinto, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu with Ferrari and McLaren. Pretty template Timmy squad going on right here. There are some quite simple moves to make. I don't think I can get to Max Verstappen, despite his fantastic Brazilian Grand Prix. But the simple moves, if we're going triple Ferrari, are Lando Norris to Carlos Sainz down here, and then that gives me 3.5 million in the bank here. And unfortunately, it's not enough to upgrade Valtteri Bottas all the way up to like a Pierre Gasly or Nico Hulkenberg or something like that. But I can get there with Zhou Guanyu, who is now somehow 2 million more than Valtteri Bottas. He has been phenomenal. I talked about that in my Brazilian Grand Prix review, just how good Zhou Guanyu has been over the last 5 races for F1 fantasy, not for F1 in general. Just like trundling around at the back of the pack, not picking up any damage, not coming anywhere close to DNF. So good job by Zhou Guanyu for F1 fantasy purposes. But yeah, I could get Zhou Guanyu here, and then that gives me enough money to kind of get into the Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson range. Oliver Behrman is still active in the game, but Kevin Magnussen should be back unless we hear something drastic over the next few days. But I would expect Kevin Magnussen to be added back to the game, Ollie Behrman to be inactive. So if you have Ollie Behrman, took a gamble on him in Brazil, you'll need to get him out of your lineup. So that gets me into the Nico Hulkenberg range, which is fine. Kind of gets me like a stronger squad. Zhou Guanyu, like, has been lucky just being there, but Nico Hulkenberg could have a good race. He did DNF also in Vegas last season. However, before I got on here, I was playing around with a little bit of some craziness and getting McLaren out of the squad and thinking about, just kind of throwing caution to the wind and going Haas and Ferrari and then getting Oscar Piastri in here. That gives me a triple premium driver lineup with Ferrari. Haas had a rough stretch there, but 34 points, 25 points in in Mexico and the United States. So not bad for a constructor there. I don't really need budget, but if I was just, throwing it out there that a triple premium driver lineup with Ferrari, this is something I could get behind if the sims look okay. If Haas looks speedy around this track, if Ferrari looks very good around this track, this is kind of a very different lineup that I could go with. So the lineup would be Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc would get the 2 times here. So then, Charles Leclerc with the 2 times, Carlos Sainz, then Oscar Piastri, Frank Colapinto, Valtteri Bottas, Ferrari, and Haas as the constructor. It gives me 1.7 in the bank, so not really optimizing it all that much. I could, think I wouldn't be able to get to Alexander Albon either. Short of that as well. And that would require a hit for me. I do have 3 free transfers. This would be like 1.7 million, would easily allow me to get back to double or triple McLaren in Qatar if I just wanted to kind of guard myself against the extra DRS boost, because Qatar is supposed to be quite good for McLaren. So we'll need to get back there. I do have 3 free transfers for this squad as well, but yeah, I'm not hating this. This is kind of just like a Monday content creator talking like, oh, here's a differential lineup. And I understand that probably by 6:59 on Saturday morning, I will not have this squad, but triple Ferrari is definitely in play. But I just want to show that you could get 2 or 3 premium drivers. I've seen a little bit more of the squads with like way bigger budgets being able to go that way. The only other thing, like getting Max in, is pretty impossible at this point, like 22.1 million. I don't even know where I could go. Mercedes, that would leave me 23.2. You could get to George Russell here with this budget. This would be absolutely, I think this lineup, despite having 2 stronger constructors, is even crazier than the 3 premium driver lineup. But just there's some lineup conversation or combinations that I'm thinking about with the 125.7 million I've got in my T1 squad. But now let's go over to a T3 squad that has way more in the bank. And this is the T3 squad here, 135.7 million in the bank. So yeah, just almost 10 million more than I have with my T1 squad. This team did not do so hot in Brazil. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Yuki Tsunoda, Frank Colapinto, and Nico Hulkenberg. So yeah, that went great. Thanks. But still top 1,000 in the world. So good job by this team, Ferrari and McLaren as the constructors. 2 free transfers here, but I do have the wild card in my back pocket. And like I said, while I was doing some prep for this episode, it's easy to get to the triple Ferrari lineup here, so that would be that. But yeah, wild card in the back pocket. So if I activate the wild card, I could kind of go anywhere I wanted with this squad. We could get from Frank Colapinto, although I'd probably just keep him in, to be honest. But Yuki Tsunoda can go up to 15.5 million, which I don't really know where I would go with that. I mean, look at this. Fernando Alonso is right there as well. Qualified in the top 10 or finished in the top 10 last season, but he's just been having a miserable stretch. That Aston Martin car looks very bad. Could get to Nico Hulkenberg, could get to K-Mac whenever he comes back. However, if we go back and I just get this out of the way, there is a world where if I activate the wild card, I can get Max Verstappen in here with Lando Norris, who would be the 2 best assets of the season so far. They may not be the 2 best assets for this track. With 17.3 left in the bank, I'd probably need to get Valtteri Bottas in here for 10.6. And that would leave me with Alexander Albon. And then, yeah, I'd still be short here. I could go from, instead of Colapinto, I could get Zhou Guanyu with Valtteri Bottas. But yeah, this is kind of another option here. I think my lineup suggestions are a little bit crazy here, but I think we all know about the triple Ferrari. We think Ferrari is supposed to be strong. So I don't want to just like do the same old. kind of just offer up some different thoughts here. The thing about Double Williams is, while they will have 2 cars at Las Vegas, there was a little bit of a rumor saying that they may only need to be able to take one, but it sounds like they're going to get both cars there. However, if one of them has a massive shunt in free practice 1, free practice 2, free practice 3, or qualifying, there is a chance that they will not be able to race on Sunday, just like Alexander Albon did in Brazil a couple of weeks ago. So we need to think about that. I mean, that could happen for either Williams driver. So maybe you don't even want to roster either Williams driver as well. Like, I could understand that. But with this price point, I could not do that. Maybe if you had a little bit more budget. Yeah, so we need to think about that when it comes to Williams. But we'll get some more explanation data on that on Wednesday during media day, and then Thursday and Friday we'll have practice, see if they get through it. And then the thing about Brazil was they had qualifying on the same day as the race, so there wasn't even enough time to repair. There were some minor damages to some cars that they were able to repair, but what happened to Albon's car? Maybe if they had an overnight session to fix the car, they could have had a pit lane start or something like that, but it was just not doable with the amount of time in between sessions. But in general, this team is top 1,000 in the world. So this is more of a consolidating rank squad. So it is more likely that I will hop off the triple McLaren and get onto a triple Ferrari kind of build here. It's only 2 transfers. This team will also need to be set up for the next Grand Prix in Qatar, but the wild card here could come in handy if Yuki's not looking good, if I can kind of distribute these funds around in the back markers of this squad a little bit as well. Need to figure that out whenever we get the data from FP1 and FP2. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts here. This is more of a consolidating rank squad. If I'm going to go a little bit crazier, it might be with my T1 squad that needs a kind of risk it for the biscuit boost up the standings with only 3 races to go in the season. One last reminder for lineup lock this weekend. I'll be here 1 hour before qualifying, so if you want to tune in for that, you won't forget about lineup lock. But if you're going to be asleep or you just don't think you're going to be really close to the buzzer for the lineup lock, local time is going to be 10 p.m. Friday night in Vegas, 6 a.m. UK time on Saturday, and midnight Saturday, or midnight Friday into Saturday for the East Coast. I have no idea how to say that. Is it midnight on Saturday or it's midnight on Friday? I can't tell. Let me know in the comments below if you know the correct way to say that. But yes, from Friday into Saturday on the East Coast, that is when your lineup block is at midnight. One last reminder for the deadline live stream. Like I've mentioned several times before already, I'll be there. I will not be wearing the same outfit that Charles Leclerc is wearing in this picture here, although that is glorious. I remember him saying he thought all the drivers were going to be wearing this, and he was it was pretty funny to watch that video last season as well. But deadline live stream, I will be there. Hopefully you guys will be there. Let me know in the comments below what you want me to cover for that qualifying hour. And yeah, you can hit me up on all of those social media channels as well. And a reminder for the fantastic fan survey that FanAmp is doing with the fantasy formula there, www.fanamp.com/F1-news-the-fantasy-formula-20-player-survey. And yeah, go on there. Let your thoughts be known about F1 and how you would like it to improve for the 2025 version. Great job by those guys as always. And yeah, good luck in Vegas this week. I guess I would say break a leg because, Vegas kind of just showing out and stuff like that. So yeah, good luck to Adam, Rob, and Terry this week for the Fantasy Formula guys in Vegas. Hopefully you guys put on quite a show. I can't wait to watch. But that's going to do it for the preview episode of the Las Vegas Grand Prix and team selection. I will be back on Saturday morning, my time in Germany, with a steaming hot cup of coffee and looking forward to the start of another triple header as we wind down the F1 fantasy season. Once again, don't forget to follow me on all the social media platforms at F1 Fantasy Ewan, and like this video and subscribe to the channel as we look to help it grow over the final 3 weeks of the F1 fantasy season and heading into next season with that fan survey. So don't forget to take that either. But once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.